So tell me, have you been trying to make a breakthrough on LinkedIn, writing things here and there only to hear cricket? Or maybe you are new to the scene and want to make use of this new platform, not so new, but in its updates and upgrades, want to use this platform for your best benefit, maybe a career, maybe an upgrade, maybe a jump into a leadership position. If you are any of these, then this conversation is for you. Let's go. And good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Quantum Leadership Hacks. I'm your host, Dr. Nebila Dhieb, and today we have an exciting topic. I'm so excited, I can barely hold my seat. We're talking about, we're going to dive into the mindset of, I'm allergic. Anything about mindset makes me moving. So, the mindset of writing on LinkedIn. Five takeaways. So, joining us on stage is Miss Ehlimana Kurgash, a seasoned LinkedIn content writer who has helped many professionals amplify their voices and establish a strong presence on the platform. Welcome, Ehlimana. Before we get started on this, Ehlimana, let me wish a very happy Saudi National Day, 94th birthday for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Best wishes and have a wonderful day, my friends, my colleagues, my family in Saudi. Have an amazing day. Limana, come on stage. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me. And I would like to join your best wishes for National Day in Saudi. I wish you all the best.
Absolutely. Can you believe it? It's the 94th Saudi National Day. Excellent. So let's get started without any further ado. So here a quick message to everyone. I hope you for the national. No, this is not the one. Yeah, this is the one. There you are. There you are. So, enjoy your day, everyone, and happy National Day. What we are going to do, we are going to dive right to the point of this live, which is like before we get started. Let's see what is at stake here. So sometimes I get a lot of clients and students, and they say, Dr. Nabila, I ventured into starting to write something here and something there, but it's like a couple of likes and maybe no comments, and I feel like I want to hide, and go somewhere and hide, maybe under the carpet or something. Or maybe somebody is just new and they see this big movement which is on LinkedIn, and they say, oh my God, this is saturated. This is like everybody, looks like nobody stayed home. Everybody is on LinkedIn. How am I going to go in there and slice even a piece of the cake? Now, I brought you Ehlimana. As I said, she's an experienced content writer with a very nice and interesting audience followers that are have started coming on the call. There is Saad bin Majid. Hello, Saad bin Majid is in Saudi and saying thanks. You are welcome, sir. Listen, before we get into the five takeaways, I really want to dive deep into how do we nail this LinkedIn beast, especially if you want to nail a career or an upgrade. Let's focus on my career ladies and gentlemen in the GCC who want to leverage the platform for an upgrade or for maybe a career pivot or maybe a career jump into leadership from middle management into leadership, and they are thinking what is it strategically I can use with LinkedIn to get there. Before we get into the five takeaways, I'd love for you, Ehlimana, to share a bit about your journey. How did you get started with writing on LinkedIn and what drew you to this platform? Tell us.
Okay, so my story starts when I was really young. So I'm a published author here in Bosnia. I published two books while I was still in elementary school. So I wrote my first book when I was 10. With this being said, I've been writing for 15 years now, and I've been literally writing my whole life. Uh, but in last 7 years, I was actually more career oriented, focused on writing online. So I used to write blogs for websites and just do copywriting, but I wasn't able to find my clients constantly. I didn't know how to reach my audience, how to find people to work for them all the time. I didn't know um, about Upwork and similar sites, but I wanted something where I don't have to necessarily like um, sound salesy or to just I wanted people to come to me. That's how I would say it. And then I heard about LinkedIn, and I decided to build my brand in a way to have my audience come to me, and not just my audience, but my clients as well. So what I did, it's been a year and a half now since I joined LinkedIn, and I decided to tell the world that I'm a writer, and that's it. Like it sounds that simple, but it is that simple. Use the LinkedIn to tell the world what you do and what you can do for them. And that's the whole point. As soon as you do that, the world will welcome you. I've mentioned this many times in my posts, and every time my audience agrees. So, what I did, I started posting content that was literally telling the world how I write, and I was teaching them to write better. So, yeah, a year and a half later, I have 25 to 26,000 followers now, and a successful business that's growing and that keeps me, you know, safe. That's the whole point.
Right. Very interesting story. So, and when you started Ehlimana like a year and a half ago, that was literally from scratch, right? Like
Yes,
literally, you opened an account and in LinkedIn, and then you started posting in there, right?
I had 87 connections, if I remember correctly, and those were like my, colleagues, but that wasn't a real audience. But what I did, I booked a call with a coach. I had a coach, which is Yasmin Alic. We mentioned him already. And to be honest with you, that call really changed my life because he was there. He already knew the platform. He already had around 100,000 followers, I think, something like that. So he was already a coach who knew all the hacks and tricks, and he was there just to guide me. I knew how to write, I knew what to do, but I didn't have a strategy. So what he did with me then, he asked me, can you now just imagine and picture your ideal clients in front of you? And I said, yes, I want to work with women. I want to work with CEOs and founders. who are super busy, don't have time to create their content. I want to write for them. And he was like, there you have it. That's the whole point. You just need to be super specific about what you want to do and show that on your profile. So he helped me optimize my profile. I think this step is super important and a thing that really helped me the most, because when my profile was optimized on a professional level, I gained confidence that I wouldn't have if I didn't have that, uh, support from a coach. So what I definitely recommend to people is to hire a coach, to book a call to help them. But if they cannot invest money and do it, then they need to invest time. And what I'm doing right now with my content is basically sharing all that advice that I received and the advice that I'm currently sharing with my clients. So if you don't have money to invest to grow your brand, feel free to join me on my platform and also follow Yasmin Alic as well, because he is the guy who definitely does the same. And his content really helped me, you know, grow super fast. So yeah, those are like my beginnings. And a year and a half later, I'm satisfied with my job. I was fully booked in less than 2 months of posting on LinkedIn, since I like showed my offer. So I had so many clients showing up. And the best part, I never had to sell. I never posted a single post that's like 100% salesy. I never did outreach or anything like that. I always had my clients coming to me just because they followed my profile, they've seen my content, and they have noticed how I do my uh, personal branding. So they wanted me to do it for them as well.
Right. This is so good. That's an incredible journey, Ehlimana, even within a short, if you like, period of time. So there you have it. I mean, you don't need to have like, because sometimes I talk to ladies and they say, Dr. Nabila, but you, da, da, da. And I say, people start from scratch and, it just needs some consistency. We are going to talk about that in a minute. It doesn't need, years or ages. So let's dive right into the first piece, the first takeaway, and you already touched on that in your by mentioning your discussion with Yasmin Alik. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Yasmin Alik.
Alic. Correct.
Alic. Yasmin Alic. Ah, that guy who on fire.
Definitely.
Yes, and what you discussed or what he like advised you to do, which is basically find your niche. This is literally talking to one person. This is literally, it's not putting yourself out there and stretching yourself in. This is about talking to a particular person, and this is, if you like, if I may call it, I mean, you can't be everywhere. You can't be everywhere. You can't be everyone for everyone. So the mindset, since we are talking about mindset, I think this is the point. I mean, don't try to be a superwoman or superhuman or super anything. Just focus on your goal. Who is it you are targeting and what do you want to target? So this brings us to authenticity, Ahlimana. Tell us about why first finding that authentic piece is important in writing on LinkedIn.
Well, it's not about writing on LinkedIn. It's about choosing your content type and the way you're going to present yourself on LinkedIn. What I did, I literally told my coach, I want to write. I'm a writer, so I want to write. I don't want to do photos. I don't want to do like images. At that time, I didn't do anything else other than writing text only. So I enjoyed that type of content and I presented myself as a text only person. And that's the only format I've ever posted for like a year. And then after some time, I started to change my strategy. But what I was doing at that time, I was focused on what I love. So what I definitely and always suggest to my clients is to focus on what they love. And that's how you present yourself in the most authentic way. If you prefer telling stories, do more of telling stories. If you prefer educating people, do more of educational content. If you prefer videos, do videos. If you love photos, images, carousels, whatever is your favorite thing to do more of that. And I believe the biggest part of building your strategy is to build it on what you love, because LinkedIn is not a short run, it's a marathon. And imagine if you are now about to plan your next year, next 2 years, and imagine if you had to do things that you don't like every week, 2, 3 times a week, you would definitely end up hating it, and you would quit. That's for sure. The whole
True.
point is to find and to post content that you actually enjoy creating, to come up with ideas that you love talking about. So when you choose your content pillars, the best thing is to ask yourself a question. What's the one topic that I can talk about the whole day long? Like, what's the one topic that keeps me constantly engaged, constantly uh, ready to talk about it? And choose that topic as your one content pillar. So, other than that, you should have three content pillars. These two should go with, business and whatever you need to post, but stay focused on what you really love. And that way, you'll definitely build a brand that your audience will love too. So, yeah, this is like the first step in your content strategy. Uh, Create a strategy that you will love and show people that love so they will love you back. That's for sure.
Right. So here, if because I really, like to break it down into even more probably doable or actionable steps. Here we are talking about, you talked about two things. You talked about the type of content you want to post, the type of content you want to post, which means the text only or video or image plus video or image plus text or maybe carousel or whatever. So it's the format one. And then the second thing, you said, just nearly just focus on what is it that you want. It's the content, it's the idea, it's the, like, the topic, the things that you feel like, as you said, you can talk about. If you can stand up and talk about without any preparation at all, like about a topic, what would that be? So be very mindful of the topic and of the format,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Because
right.
I loved writing, and I know so many people who enjoy writing, but they're not so good with creating infographics, carousels, designing photos, or even taking photos or recording videos. So, what I'm trying to tell you is focus on format that you really enjoy. And content topics, that's like on the other side. Content topics should be what you really can talk about. Don't show up as a expert in something that you're not an expert in. And that's the whole thing.
Right. Right.
Okay.
And when it comes to, for many career women in the GCC in particular, they are in a career, they are in a job, and but maybe they aspire or they want, the next level up or something else. So the idea is always like, um, what kind of content, what kind of value am I going to add in here? So what would you suggest, meaning in terms of type of there is the informational, there is the storytelling, you mentioned storytelling, there is the visuals with bunch of stuff and infographics and so on and so forth. um what's the deal in here? So say today I talked about this, today I announced this, today I celebrated National Day, and so what next?
Okay,
How do
so
you
when
deal with
you're providing value on LinkedIn, it's not about your format, it's not about what kind of content you want to share. The best advice I have for everyone on LinkedIn is to actually share 100% of your knowledge and advice that you would actually give to yourself. So I think this is the best way to approach LinkedIn. Be ready to share all of your knowledge. Don't like hesitate. Don't stop yourself from like, deleting certain sentences because you're afraid that someone else will steal that or something. Don't do that. Approach LinkedIn wholeheartedly. Like share every advice that you can and help people the same way that you wish someone else helped you before. So even if you're like in a stage where you just want to level up in your career in the same company that you're currently in, share advice to those who are on other positions, those who aspire to become you. Teach them or talk to those who are in front of you. Like constantly find people who you want to talk to and share advice. This way you will stand out the most on LinkedIn and people will see you as someone who is generous, and that's definitely the one thing that you want to achieve. And yeah, that's basically it. Because when you show your expertise without hesitating, people will know that you know what you're doing. And sometimes I'm even asked like, what will happen if someone like steals my post, or just copy paste it or something. Don't worry about it. Like even if I show up now and tell you what to do step by step and step, like I can tell you everything. But if you need a ghostwriter, you will still find a ghostwriter because you don't have time to implement everything that I've said. And that's the whole
it?
point. People need you to implement things for them. So don't be afraid to share steps and all your knowledge in how to do something. And
I I totally agree. And I do believe we should not be withholding anything, withholding the knowledge at all. Just share, give it all in. We have an interesting, hold on. Where is he? Anirban Das. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And he's asking how to write like Ellie.
well,
He wants the He wants you to spill the beans, Ehlimana.
I'm doing it
How?
every my content. I'm literally telling people how to write like me. But I think the whole story of my writing is that I'm concise and I'm trying not to be too wordy, even though that's super hard for me because you can tell now how wordy I am. I could like talk for hours, and that's the same with writing, if not even worse. But what I do, I edit a lot. I cut everything that doesn't have to be in a post. So every time I notice a line that's unnecessary, I just delete it. I think
Yeah.
that's the most important part about writing, especially if you're wordy. Be ready to delete a lot.
Right. Yeah, it's cut all the fluff and the excess fat and everything. This is so good. I mean, we've noticed it's all being replaced by those little arrows and little things and bullet points. It's very punctual. People's attention is very short. So they unfortunately that's the reality of thing. Even in terms of attention spans and everything, people's attention is becoming even shorter today, with everybody trying to grab a bite of your attention. So those were two takeaways. How about the third takeaway? You said you built a 26K community. What's the key in that? What's the mindset in that, Ehlimana?
Engagement. When I started on LinkedIn, I didn't start posting straight away because I wasn't ready to post. But what I could do And what anyone can do right now is to open up your feed, to find posts that you like, and to leave comments. And leave valuable comments, not just like a great post, nicely written, something like that. No, but really add your insights on those posts, add more value if possible, and engage with people on LinkedIn. That way, you'll be noticed by followers of an author of a post, and those people will notice your comment. They will start showing up on your profile, and then when you start posting, you will definitely have an audience already there waiting for you. So, what you do next, every time you actually publish a post, ask a question. When you finish your post, add PS part in the end and ask a question. That way, your audience will be ready to answer, to respond, and you'll be able to build connection through comments. That way, you build audience that actually wants to engage with your content, and they start showing up regularly. When you notice people in your comments every time you post, go check their profile, comment on their posts as well. That way, you're really building that connection between you and other creators, and yeah, your profile will grow for sure. So I think that out of all the other things, uh, if you're overwhelmed, if you have a busy week, if you have so many things to do, you can skip posting. I always say this, you can skip posting, but please don't sleep on engagement. Open that app once a day for 15, 20 minutes or an hour, as much time as you have and you can, and leave comments. That way your profile will be alive even when you're not posting. And that's definitely the best advice for growth on LinkedIn.
So when you started, let's so to speak, get in the real, Limana. So when you started, just to give people an idea about how to grow, like from zero to, let's say, even 10,000 or 15,000, what would that mean in, like, in actual engagement time, like per day? Would you engage on, like, what, 50 people, 20 people, 10 people, 5 people, 60 people? Because these are metrics and they vary a lot. So what's your
Yeah,
take?
I never counted people. Instead, I counted time that I've spent on LinkedIn. So, what I did, I would spend 2 hours on LinkedIn on days that I post, and 1 hour when I'm not posting. And that would be my week. So, what I would do if I post today, I would stay on that post. And that's something that I do even today. I would stay on a post for an hour. And if I have, I don't know, 80 comments, I would respond to all those 80 comments on my post. If I have 300 comments, I would respond to all of them. I mean, not all of them, but as much as I can at that point, as much as I can. And then the other hour that I mentioned, I would go on my feed and I would support people whose work I appreciate. So I had engagement lists of big creators at first. I didn't even like know those people, but I noticed that they have engaged audience, that they have so many comments on their posts. So what I would do, I would just check their profiles daily to see if they have posted. I would even like hit that ring, a bell button on their profile so that I get a notification every time they post. And every time I'm notified, I just try to comment on their posts as soon as I can and leave as good comments as I can. My comments are even like small posts, and this way I would sometimes even collect more likes on my comments than what I would get on my posts when I was just starting. So that's the whole point. You want to show up on as many posts as you can, and yeah, create those engagement lists. Find 20, 30 people in your niche, and big creators, of course, and try to comment on those people. Don't just comment everywhere. This is also important to know. You cannot just go and comment on anyone's post. For me, it would be insane to go and comment on, I don't know, fashion brand, because I currently don't work with those brands. And
Sure.
I'm oriented towards communities, CEOs, founders, doesn't matter. So go for people who actually are in your niche. And that way you would keep that list long but short at the same time. And it's better for you to leave 10 or 20 valuable comments rather than to leave 100 or 200 of random comments.
Everywhere,
So
even
yeah,
for
always-
algorithm purposes and so
exactly.
on.
It's always quality over quantity.
I think you already perhaps touched on this question, but and near Bandas, how to build a strategy to get more engagement and reach. If I write 5 times a week, what should I talk more?
I have a post literally about engagement and building a strategy that works for everyone. So, what I would always suggest for people is if you're posting 5 times a week, have a personal story once or twice a week. That's definitely an input that that people miss most of the time. We focus on educating. We focus on building social proof. We focus on talking about our clients, but we lack on personal stories. So what I always suggest is to go for personal story at least once, or if you're posting 5 times a week, you can even go for 2 times a week. This way you talk about emotions, and people will remember how you make them feel. They will not remember data. So what drives engagement is that moment when people can resonate with you, when they can relate. You want to achieve that, and you want to, of course, ask simple questions that really make people answer, and not just make them think, and while they're thinking they just scroll down your post and go on next post. Because I often notice hard questions in the end of posts where people just ask, I don't know, questions that really make you think. Like, I need to sit down and think about those questions for like 2 3 minutes, hour, it doesn't matter. I don't have that time. Ask me a question that really can be answered within a second. And that way you will level up your engagement for sure.
I love it. So this would take us right into takeaway number 4. So we talked about authenticity, being authentic, developing a voice, a brand. We talked about providing value. We talked about engagement. And how about we said we promised earlier on to talk about the consistency versus perfection. Which one would be your go-to preference, Ehlimana?
I suggest going for both, but this means focus on quality rather than focusing on quantity. So if you can go for 3 posts per week and make sure that those posts are super valuable, and let's say achieve that perfectionist moment, I would suggest going for 3 posts instead of going for 5 posts per week, where you cannot meet any of standards of high quality posts or that so-called perfectionism. So what I definitely recommend is to combine both. Do less of of what's good, of what's super uh, engaging, super required by your audience, and find a balance. But I would say if you can choose to, I don't know, uh, consistency is super important, and you need to stay consistent. And just try not to overwhelm yourself. So
Mm,
always have a balance where you can achieve certain things. Don't push yourself to do something that's like too much for you. I never uh, re- I never tried to post 5 times a week consistently because I know that I cannot achieve that. And I know that my content will definitely suffer on a quality basis. So what I did, I said myself, okay, I will post 3 times per week, because people often confuse that consistently doesn't mean daily. Consistently means regularly, and you choose
mm.
what's for you. And 3 times per week can work perfectly if you post quality content. So definitely go for the amount of posts that work for you, that works for you, even if it's just like 2 times per week. But go for high quality posts instead of five here and there posts. You
Average.
understand? Yeah.
Right. So the consistency, Limana, this is like a very important, aspect, because showing up on a particular day at a particular time builds a trust and keeps you know, top of the mind of your audience. When you focus on sharing your thoughts and ideas regularly, even if they are not perfect, even if it's over time, you will develop a voice, a rhythm, movement around your brand or around what you are doing, rather than sprint, and then you get exhausted, you get burned out, you get, oh my god, I'm dried out, I need to rest just 1 or 2 days, 1 week. The 1 week turns into 1 month, and then you are toast. You you happened to me. I'm talking from experience, where don't go with that surge of excitement. You say, yeah, I'm gonna do it, and then just to start small and consistent. Remember, Elimana mentioned this at the beginning of the call. You be ready for the long, so to speak, overhaul. Be ready for the marathon. Be a marathoner, rather than the sprinter. Because the sprint, after a while, you will stop somewhere, because you cannot keep that pace of sprinting unless you have a big heavy duty machine of social media and preparation of posts and posting and so on behind you. But on your own, we suggest that you just choose, start a small, something you can really commit to consistently, and take it from there. This is so good. Consistency over perfection. So we are hitting number 4, and now we are hitting takeaway number 5. We're talking about the mindset of writing on LinkedIn. What keeps people consistent? What keeps people visible? What keeps people growing? So we're talking about the mindset of growing and thriving on LinkedIn. If you are catching the call now, we've done 4 takeaways already. We talked about authenticity, we talked about giving value, we talked about engagement, we talked about consistency. And the 5th, we are going to talk about keeping and nurturing and holding a growth mindset. Tell us more about this, Ehlimana.
Well,
How does
you
the
mentioned
mindset
those.
influence the way professionals write and engage on LinkedIn? How does the mindset, you have a growth mindset or a closed mindset, how does it influence the way you or professionals write and engage on LinkedIn? This is the question, basically.
Let's go step by step because you have now asked at least 3 questions. I would like to start with beginners, the ones you mentioned at the very beginning, asking you or complaining how they only get like 3, 4 likes and they feel like no one really reads their posts, so they don't want to post. The one thing that really kept me going is a question that I also got from my coach. And he asked me, why don't you change what if nobody reads it for what if someone reads it? So even if it's a one person, just one person who reads your post, that one person can be life changing for you in some in certain ways. So don't focus on who will read and ignore. Focus on those who will read and who will appreciate what you're writing. So try to help people, try to show up for your audience. I had the biggest, let's say, struggle when I reached the point when I was fully booked. And then I was like, okay, so why am I on LinkedIn now? Why would I post? I have so many clients, and if I continue to post, I will have so many more and I cannot take them. What's the point of posting now? And then I realize that at those moments when I don't need anything from my audience, when I don't need anything from my followers, from people who are there to read my posts, I need to switch that focus from me and to focus on giving them. Just because it happened at that moment to be like fully booked. It happened that I don't need anything more from LinkedIn. But in 6 months, I might need it again. So I need to stay present. I need to be there like nothing has changed. People who read our post don't know where we are, whether it is business wise or in career or financially or I don't know, in private life either. So what's the point? You want to stay present and you want to build that backup plan even if you don't need it, because the whole point of posting on LinkedIn is to have that audience who's there waiting for you in a way to present your service, to present your offer, to present your product maybe tomorrow. So you need to understand that you're posting for your future self. It's not all about you today, it's also about you tomorrow. So your LinkedIn is definitely a way to make sure that your future is safe. And yeah, I think these are some of those mindset shifts that really kept me going, and that I think more people need to understand these, because as soon as you realize that you posting on LinkedIn brings you visibility, brings you opportunities, and this word opportunities is not highlighted enough because we don't see that happening in comments, but what happens in DMs is what each one of us knows. So give time to process, give time to LinkedIn, and stay consistent. I haven't met too many people who didn't see a huge change within just 3 months of posting on LinkedIn. So treat LinkedIn as something super important for 3 months or 6 months, and I guarantee you, you will definitely feel the change in your life.
I love this. Mr. Muhammad Ibrahim is here and he's saying, good evening, everyone. Hello, hello, Muhammad. Thanks for joining the discussion. And Limana, we're coming to the end of the discussion, and I love, love, love these nuggets and takeaways. We've discussed. So we are way past the 30 minutes. So the discussion has been so amazing. So these are fantastic takeaways. And to recap, the five takeaways are: embrace authenticity. Be you, be authentic. You're gonna need to tell your story. You're gonna need to be you. There is no way for you to be someone else or to hide behind a nicely fleshed out picture or anything. You need to be that raw you, that authentic you. That's number one. Number two, stay consistent with providing value. Even your story, some people say, but nobody is interested in my story. Your story is unique. Each one of us has a unique story, and its simplicity. People love human simple things. uh, People love and like and trust people who are like them. They are not interested in your fancy things, logos and websites, and they are interested in your story. Three, continue to engage. Elimana said it. So please engage, engage, engage. Don't hide away, or you say, what if somebody reads it? What if? So make a point of giving like some authentic, value content, value engagement. That is, it's going to stay there, and I guarantee you, or Ahlimana said she guarantees you will be noticed. The fourth one, third one is engage and build a community. Build a community around you. Limana said a year and a half ago she did not have an audience, and now she's grown it to 26,000. She is also, we talked about the consistency, the need to be consistent rather than you can, like, post regularly, not necessarily daily. but be consistent with it. And the fifth one is keep your mind open, keep a growth mindset into how you are doing this. And for those who listening and who want to start to improve their LinkedIn content journey, these are great principles to follow. You know, I mean, Ehlimana, stands as a perfect example for how you can change, you can actually build a business around LinkedIn. Elimana, final words. What can you tell us?
Well, I'm so glad to have the opportunity to be here today with you. And this is just one of those opportunities that LinkedIn brought me. You never heard of me before, That's the whole
True.
point. So even these events where I get to speak, this is all caused by my presence on LinkedIn. And there are so many other things that I haven't mentioned here, but you can read them in my posts. So many opportunities that you get daily and that really help you level up your visibility, and more people will hear for you for sure. And even this event is just one more proof of what LinkedIn can do for you. So I think that's a perfect way to end the whole story today, because I wouldn't have been here if there wasn't for LinkedIn and my regular posting.
Absolutely spot on. Listen, I'm so delighted because you stand, as a living proof for what LinkedIn can do for you, to you, for you, and to the community, to all our listeners who are out there and waiting for the perfect time to come on LinkedIn. The time is now. The time is today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. The time is now. People are waiting for your voice, for your story, for what you can bring. Don't underestimate what you are bringing to the table to companies. People are looking for you, your profile and everything. Just come on in there and show up and show up. So, to all our listeners, thank you all for joining us on this episode of the Quantum Leadership Hacks. Remember, LinkedIn is not just about posting. It's about connecting. It's about sharing. It's about growing. The time is for community building. Take these takeaways to heart and start your journey today. And before we finish this call, for those who are looking for like a more detailed step-by-step way for how to do all of this, the quantum career jump, the LinkedIn, the industry positioning, who is who and what is what, we have a masterclass that you can watch. And if you are ready to dive into a quantum career jump, then definitely that could help a lot, because it clarifies exactly what needs to happen, including your LinkedIn visibility. Before I give it to wrap, we have Faizan Ali who said, Early, how do you generate content ideas and manage to format them so well? I'm going to bring this question to you, Ellie, because it looks like everybody's calling you Ellie. I'm the only one calling you full name, Ehlimana. Ellie? Okay, so I'll show this.
I,
Uh,
uh, I have been asked about formatting a few times today because my today's post was well formatted. The thing is, it's all about practice. Once you start practicing formatting, you'll end up writing your text messages in a formatted way. So it's literally just practice. And about my content ideas, well, I usually listen to what my audience asks in questions. So I try to answer those questions. And even like this question can be used for a new content idea. So that's mostly my favorite uh, tactic. And other than that, I repurpose my content a lot, actually. Whenever I don't have time to come up with new ideas, I go through my old posts and I just rewrite them better and better every time. So, yeah, that those are like the easiest ways to come up with new content
So
ideas.
repurpose still on LinkedIn. This is the master. This is Mr. Yasmin Alich. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Good
You
to see
are.
you. He's in the States, right? Is he in somewhere in Atlanta? He landed some days ago or something. I'm stalking you on LinkedIn, Yasmin. Glad to see a fellow Bosnian, and what a Bosnian! Absolutely amazing, beautiful Bosnian, full of wisdom and ideas, and making waves around the world. She definitely is early, as everybody seems to be calling you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jasmine. Thanks, everyone who's taken part in this call. I am so proud of this amazing lady. I mean, I didn't know the information that in a year and a half, that's what she did, and the LinkedIn presence she did on LinkedIn. I join Yasmin in his saying, "So proud of you." I'm so proud of you, Ellie. And there's always something to learn from each other. So, for all our listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in today. Take these takeaways, listen and watch again what Ellie just shared with us today. Take them to heart and start your journey today. Don't postpone, no, not tomorrow, not next week. Start today, and until next time, keep learning, growing, and leading with purpose. Thank you, everyone, and good night. Bye bye. Technology.
So the end just event doesn't want to stop.
Yeah, no, it doesn't want to. Insisting on having you a few more minutes, Ellie. Let's see another way of finishing the. I'm ending the stream, but it's not coming. Meanwhile, everybody's saying thanks, thanks, thanks. Yeah, just landed in Sarajevo. That's Yasmin. Just back to safely to Sarajevo. So officially back in Bosnia. Atlanta has my heart. We are so proud of you and what you are doing, Yasmin. Let's try another one. We are keeping you on the call, Ellie.
Okay.
Yeah, there you are. Stay well, everyone. Bye bye. It's stuck somewhere.